Hey guys, this is you from Coffee Fukuoka. In this module, what actually I want you to do is first make sure that you've read the roast degrees module before watching this video, because I want you to understand whatever I've written there. So, if you haven't read it, please read it. If you already have, we will carry on. So, as you may have read, the way that we as customers use light roasts, medium roasts, and dark roasts is a bit different from the way a roaster would use the roast degrees. Now, there's a huge difference because if you have one cafe saying that, oh, this one is a medium roast, let's say, and you have another cafe saying that, oh, this one is a light roast, it may be the same roast degree, but they just name it as a light roast or a medium roast. So the best thing to do is for you to learn the way roasters differentiate the roast degrees. So that's why I have provided this PDF, because I want you to get used to this color, right? This color is what will help you find out the roast degree of coffee, because all of the coffee, wherever they come from, whatever the variety of the coffee, they will usually color the same way as they roast. And that's why it's important that you learn this. It's not too difficult. You just need to remember a few key ones, basically. So let us begin from the left now. When you first start the process of roasting coffee, it's first green. I haven't put the green one, but it's a green color, okay? It's like a light mint green. And then it slowly starts to turn into this called light roast. This is what we call light roast, for roasters. And usually this is not sold. You don't sell this because it's very, very sour, acidic, and it tastes tarty. And it has this grass kind of smell, which is very unpleasant. So people will not sell this usually. Now, the next one is this one is sold. It's called cinnamon roast. It looks like a cinnamon color. So if you've seen the color of cinnamon, that's what it looks like. And this is usually the lightest roast that any roaster will sell. And if they say light roast and you see it and it looks like this, then it's most likely cinnamon roast. Now, this one is getting popular. Now, the reason is because a lot of single origins have a lot of distinct fragrance and aroma when they are roasted to about cinnamon roast. And that's why a lot of roasters like to keep their single origins at cinnamon roast. Now, what happens after you roast from cinnamon roast is you go to medium roast. Now, medium roast is now when you start to get a bit more of the darkening sort of color. And don't mistake this for, when you find a shop selling their coffee saying medium roast, because that could mean this one or even this one. This is just the name that the roasters use, called medium roast, which is after cinnamon roast. This is where you start to maybe a little bit get some hints of bitterness and some bitter notes. But it's generally acidic and fruity, but you start to get like some better types of like fruitiness, not something too sour or anything like that, but a bit more balanced. Let's move on now to high roast. This is probably one of the more balanced type of coffees that you can find, and this is a really good roast degree. A lot of people like to use it in blends, so here I wrote house blends. It doesn't have to be a house blend, but I have noticed that a lot of coffee roasters like to use this type of roast degree for their house blends because it's very neutral, and it also has some bitterness to it, but it's overall well balanced and a bit fruity. Alright, let's go to the next one. Now this is called the city roast. Lots of people say, even in Japan, a lot of roasters say, and one of like the master roasters also say that around this area you get a really good type of flavor profiles coming out of the coffee, and you can sometimes get out the best potential of the coffee. So you get really good fruity notes, but also you get some of those bitter sweet notes, which every coffee has something really sort of some kind of potential when you move it closer to a darker roast. And this is one of the best roasts that a lot of people say you can get. And this one also is used a lot in blends. And also for single origins, you will probably only go until maybe city roast or full city roast. You won't go after that. Now we will go to full city roast. Now this one, if you're familiar with Starbucks, probably one of their classic roasts is this full city roast. It's because it gives the coffee a lot of body, and it also gives it this charcoal kind of sort of a hint, like a smoky type of a smell flavor profile to it. And it's very fragrant because the oils are ready to sort of come out. Maybe a little bit have just come out. And yeah, the fragrance is just amazing. I think that nowadays the full city roast is not so common because lots of people are starting to go towards the lighter side. But you will find that the older roast shops, the older coffee shops, will still have a full city roast, and they will maybe like to use it in a lot of blends. Okay, now we are going into the really darker side. This is one of the categories we will call dark roasts. And the French roast is one of the classics. It's been there for probably a long time, and before, when the quality of coffee was not that good, that's when people used to use French roast, because that was a way to get rid of all the unwanted acidic sort of notes. So they would usually roast it until French. This one goes really well with milk and milk beverages, so it's very nice when you have cafe au lait or something like that. And a lot of people still use French roast to make their espressos, so it's a really good for espressos as well. Okay, now we go to the ultimate. This is very close to being burnt, and this is when you have all of the oils coming out of the coffee. Even French roast, you have a lot of oils coming out of the coffee and it's shining, but Italian roast is another shine. It's a really strong shine, and it's very fragrant. You sort of have to make sure you clean your jars and everything, because the oils will just stay there if you don't clean it. So you have to make sure you do that. Italian roast is usually very sweet. It's like bittersweet. Even French roast is bittersweet, but Italian roast is even sweeter. And this is basically used in espressos, so for espresso blends. But you can also use it for pour over. I like to use it as a pour over because I love the sweet taste that comes from Italian roasts. And yeah, not a lot of people nowadays roast until Italian roasts. You will only find maybe the older generation coffee shops having Italian roasts, or a genuine Italian coffee shop. They will have Italian roasts. And yes, it also goes really well with milk and milk beverages. Alright guys, I hope you were able to get a really good look of this graph, this roast degree chart. Make sure you just check out the colors, because these colors are really close to the real ones. And when you go to a coffee shop, just look at all of the jars that they have there of the coffee inside, and look at how different the color is, and look at how the coffee oils are coming out, and how some of them they are not, and the difference in color and everything. It's very interesting if you take a closer look. Alright guys, I hope you have learned a lot. We will end this module. I will see you guys in the next module.